Good afternoon, everyone. EagleX from ATX EagleX Gaming here today, and I'm starting a new series going over my preparation for Nationals. This is the IRL event that's going to be happening in Los Angeles, and the first thing I want to go over is metagaming analysis, what that means, and what I'm doing to prepare for it myself. But real quickly, if you guys have not already subscribed to the channel, I appreciate if you could subscribe to show your support, because if I see more support on videos like this, it lets me know I'm going in the right direction for the type of content you guys want to see. But let's go ahead and get things started off now with just Nationals itself. In case you guys don't know, Bandai made an announcement. Nationals are going to be IRL, taking place between February 24th through 26th at the LA Convention Center. So this is IRL, and more details are yet to be shared. But we do have the invites list. If you guys have not seen this list, this is where you would want to reference if you're trying to see if you have your invite to Nationals. I myself got my invite at one of the IRL regionals, so you will see me there. If you guys see me there, come up to me and say hello. I love meeting you guys and chatting and having a conversation with you all. But check for your your TCG Plus ID on this list here, as this is a reference to see if you have your invite. You can do a quick Control F to scroll through all these as quickly as possible. So before we can start metagaming, I really want to have a discussion. People have been asking me, what's going to be the format for Nationals? If we go by the release dates, we see Draconic Roar is our current set that's been out for a bit, so we know EX3 is for sure safe to use. But there's a very good chance that we will be using BT11 Dimensional Phase with Blackboard Gray X, being one of the upcoming decks along with some Mastodon support. The release date is a week before Nationals for the main release, which means the pre-release is going to be 2 weeks before Nationals. I think it's pretty safe to assume we will be in BT11, so that's what I'm preparing for myself. But I am aware that it's possible it will be EX3 pending any delays in the background. So now the concept of metagaming overall though. Why am I doing this? What do I think is important about it? Metagaming is the concept of understanding what's going to be brought to regionals, what's going to do well. And there's a few ways I look at this to see how popular some things are. So first thing I would definitely recommend you guys do, check out content that you've been seeing put out for topping tournament results. So if we're in EX3 and I'm trying to metagame right now, I'm going to do a quick search for Eggman's top 16 deck profiles from various online events. I have it filtered by date. And if we're doing EX3 and you guys take a quick glance at this, you're going to see something in common here. We got Melga taking up like at least a quarter of every metagame. So if I'm metagaming for EX3, I'm going to tell myself I need to be ready to face Metal Garurumon. It's going to be a relevant deck. And you can kind of see as like the meta evolves, you see if there's a lot of Melga, you don't really see security control. But then as you see the meta started adapting and you started seeing trends of more security control popping up. Security control started popping up, and then security control being the hard counter deck to Melga started showing up more. So if you're preparing now versus when we started EX3, you see the meta's been shifting. Melga is still a good deck, but the deck that hard counters it will start showing up if people are expecting to see a lot of it. So that's one thing to keep in mind when metagaming. You have to look at trends and analysis for how our meta in the US has been adapting, and that's where I'm going to start moving on to our next point. You can look ahead and we can see how the metagame settled for Japan. So if we look at their BT11 format, they did have Starter Deck 14 towards the end of it. But if we take a quick glance, you can see like how their metagame started shifting and adding in the Starter Deck at the end. But if we go earlier format, you'll see what was really popular and taking control here. It's like you see Black War and Black War and Black War, but then you saw Grandis started popping up, so you saw the metagame started shifting towards Grandis countering Black War. But then you see a lot more Black Wars, and then Grandis starts popping up here a little bit more again, and that's going to be like the main thing you look at. Like, we know Black War is going to be a good deck if we're playing BT11, but we have to recognize like the direct counter is Grandis, so if we're seeing that, you might see, if we're in BT11, you see a lot of Black War, you might see more Grandis. If you're seeing a lot more Grandis, you might start seeing security control. But if we look at the settled Japan meta, we're able to see that... Oh, previous is up here. But we're able to see, like, they started shifting a lot more towards Grandis in the end, and then you start seeing some Grandis counters. Mastimon's a really good middle ground that takes care of Grandis if built well. Similar against Black War, Mastimon has a pretty solid spread matchup, and that's part of metagaming as well. Like, you have to see what has a good spread into what you're expecting to see. So if I look, this is like what Japan kind of selled at for their meta. And the final resource I really want to show, because I don't think people understand this. Limitless is a great site for doing webcam events. There's lots of tournaments that go on. We can filter like upcoming tournaments in case you guys want to get practice. We can filter for Digimon. And we can see there's upcoming events. But a really cool thing you guys may not realize is if you go to decks, you can actually see how popular various decks are in the format. So we're in Draconic Roars format right now, and we can see Bloomlord is the most popular deck. It's not the most winning deck. And we can see that between Melga and Blue Flare, you see a higher win percent with them being brought a little less. But seeing these stats and for how often something is brought versus how it does is a really big deal. So that'll be something I take into consideration when I'm looking at this meta game. If you guys enjoy this content, let me know what you think in the comments below. With that being said, take care, y'all, and have a nice one.